Hello and welcome. And in this video, we're going to meet Kat Stevens. Kat came to me for help with her business. And as part of the work that we did together, she used the head trash clearance method. So in this video, Kat is going to share her experience of using the head trash clearance method, what she used it on, and what differences she noticed as a result of using the head trash clearance method. So hello, Kat, we're going to talk about the head trash clearance method. So would you mind just sharing some of the things that you've used the head trash clearance method on? Have you got your old clearance list to hand? You can just share some of the things that you would have worked on.
I have. And what I thought I needed to work on wasn't what I needed to work on. So my big thing was that I thought I needed to work on a fear of failure in the endeavors that I was taking in my business. But actually, I had a real fear of success and what success might bring and what that might create for me to go on with in terms of busyness and visibility. And that was massive. But the other things I worked on were visibility, and I can take that back to childhood and how I was visible for the wrong reasons as a child, because I came from a broken marriage and it was all very, ooh, she's from a broken home. So visibility was a big thing, and judgment was huge, and I did a lot of work on judgment, and that made such a difference in terms of me being able to push forward and progress my business, but also massively changed things for me as a mum and my relationships with my kids.
Oh wow, okay, so working on judgment really helped you on a personal level with your family.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you've got that new mum judgment happens for a lot of us, doesn't it? I mean, my children are 11 and 10 now, but you've got the school gates and the teachers, and I hadn't realized how much of a thing that was. And I had this feeling of I would be judged. Yeah, massive.
So what are you noticing now then? How do you know that that's kind of worked for you? Like, how do you know you've moved past that?
I want to swear. Can I swear?
Yes, you can swear.
I just don't give a shit, really. And I don't mean that in a terrible way, but I just don't. I'm just me, and what I do is what I do, and I'm not worried. What I do isn't bad, but I don't have that, oh, should I, shouldn't I, what are they thinking thing. No, massive, really massive. And that's been a big problem for me ever since I had children.
So how old are your kids?
11 and 10.
Okay, so now you've moved past that and you feel...
Yeah.
Well, now, before we started talking, there was another thing you mentioned that you did, that you worked on, was doing things wrong. Is that it?
Yeah. And that's something I worked on again recently, actually. And as a result, in fact, last night, and as a result, I'm here today. And before we came on air, I filmed 2 videos for my website, and I've been procrastinating about it for so long, and I just did them. And my score for doing it wrong when I started was a 10.
Okay.
And it came down to a 4 immediately. It's probably a 2 now.
Yeah. So now how do you feel about doing things wrong?
Well, it doesn't matter, does it? Because it's done. By me worrying about not getting it perfect and not getting it right, I actually haven't done it. Whereas, I've missed all that opportunity in a business sense, that it's not there and out there.
So this is tied a little bit in with the visibility thing you mentioned earlier. So talk to me about the visibility thing. What have you noticed around working on visibility?
Visibility and judgment get very tied in together. They were really interconnected and very hard to separate, because when you work in a very specific area and a niche area, as I do, I work in fertility, that you have that, there's other people working in it, and we're all in our forum groups and everything together, and what might they think about me? And, what am I doing it wrong? Again, doing it wrong. And, what will they think about it? And again, it's all gone. Might swear again, but there we go. I'm me. I think the big thing is, what it enabled me to do is to be me and not think about how I should do things, about how people expect me to be things. But I'm me. I'm me as the person that people pay to come and see on a one-to-one. So putting it out online, I've still got to be me. Does that make sense?
Totally. What kind of difference has that made in your business?
just that I've had the guts, I don't know if that's the right thing. I nearly swore again about something else, but I've had the guts to just do it and to not question it. So I have a podcast now, and I am doing my videos, and I am occasionally appearing live on Facebook when I have the time. But I am writing my book. That was something that was, I will one day, but I'm writing it. I'm in contact with a copy editor at the moment. That's another step I've taken, rather than it being, I'll do that soon. I've just gone forward to do the things I want to do.
Mm.
And whereas before I felt as though I was procrastinating, really, but actually it was these fears that I didn't realize that were holding me back. Because when we first started working together, I just wanted you to support me in business sense and help me to set up a podcast and point me in the right direction for a book and to help me with some direction. And when you said about the head trash clearance, I thought, do I need that? I've done so much work on myself. I clearly not enough. And it was really powerful. And it was more in the business sense, but it has had an effect on me personally as well, and my relationships as well.
And so combining that then by looking at your fears alongside the more businessy stuff that we were talking about, was that a good combination for you then?
Oh, absolutely. Because you could just learn how to do something, to press the right switches and buttons and use the right platform for your podcast, but it doesn't come through as your authentic self. And I feel now I deliver information as my authentic self. And that makes it much more powerful. So if I'm in a one-to-one setting with a client, I'm always my authentic self. But because of putting things out there, you think about a certain way to behave. Like when we would go out for meals as kids, which we didn't do very often, we had to have impeccable manners because people would see you, and my mum would feel very judged, obviously, by my behaviour. And that becomes entrenched, and that's what I've realised afterwards. And so with everyone seeing me, whether I know them or not, I am my true authentic self still.
And that sounds quite liberating, actually, is it?
Yeah, it is. And I turn stuff down, like private stuff, personal stuff. If you're invited someone, you feel like you should go along. I turn stuff down if I don't want to, because that's not what I want to do. I'm not the people pleaser that perhaps I was.
So just talking about the actual doing of the clearance then, how did you get on with doing clearance? Like, what was that clearance process like for you when you were doing it?
It was amazing instantly, actually, Alexia. And I remember watching your video and your hippo yawn, which you did, and thinking, crikey. And I went into the first one and just stopped and could not close my mouth. This yawn was huge and my eyes weep. And then sometimes when I'm saying something, it was the success one. So when I was talking about failure, and I said that, and then I did the opposite of failure. I did success. And when I said success is great, I just felt uncomfortable. And when I said I love success, it really didn't sit well. And that's when I realized that it was success that I had the issue with, because I didn't know what that might bring. I have my own business, so I'm in control. But I had this feeling that I would then be trapped in success. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah.
So I had lots of physical reactions. And I found that really powerful, because I've always tried to go with my gut feeling, but what I hadn't realized is how much I suppressed my gut feelings because of what I thought I should do.
So how quickly did you notice changes around the thing that you worked on?
Well, the doing it wrong. So I did it before I went to bed. I remember, and I woke up in the morning and then just sat down to work and just did the things. And I did the doing it wrong again last night. And this morning, I couldn't wait for the kids to be at school because I just wanted to get these videos done.
So would you have done that before? Would you have been like itching to do videos at that level before.
No.
Because I'm just having the conversations that we've had, I'm thinking that doesn't sound like Kat.
Oh, when did we start talking about me doing videos? Yeah, I have 2 studio lights now that I set up in my office. I've looked into teleprompters. I have researched everything and not done it. And this morning I sat down, no lights on Zoom, did it, boom.
Bang, bingo, bango. So you notice this changes really quickly then from the sound of it.
Yes, absolutely. But it was getting the right wording. And, some of the wordings for the things I needed to work on when we talked about them, and you suggested what it might be, you helped me word it, you said it, and I thought, no, not at all. And then when I said it, the reaction, emotional response in my body, that tightness was huge, absolutely huge. So I think that you guiding me on finding the things as well really helped, because you helped me expand it.
So will you be carrying on using the head trash clearance method?
Yeah, I did it last night. And it's something that I haven't done it with my children actually, but when we chatted the other week and you said about your daughter and spiders, I thought actually I need to do that with my daughter.
It works really good on a fear of dinosaurs as well.